Adam Peacock, Brad Haddon. Hads, bloody hell, what a few days for Australian cricket.
Well, good afternoon, Adam, or morning. Sorry, start again. I was thinking about something else.
Here we go, 3-2. Well, that went well. Welcome to Willow Talk. I'm Adam Peacock and Brad Haddon's here to pick over the carcass of what happened in the first test in India. How are you, Hads?
Well, I'm nice and fresh, actually. I've had a couple of days off. I was meant to be in the studio for 5 days, but I tell you what, we've got a good guest today. We've got someone who's done well in the subcontinent. He's very close to one of the controversial selections, so I'm really looking forward to listening to Greg Blewett today.
Well, let's introduce him here. Welcome, Bluey. Has South Australia calmed down? We will get to Travis Head and the dropping in detail later on, but I put it up there yesterday to the guys that WA and Victoria, when someone misses out in selection, there's blow-up central. You can see the mushroom cloud from afar. What was it like in South Australia?
Well, g'day guys, firstly, but no, there was a lot of talk in Adelaide about why Trav missed out. So you get the classic comments, oh, it's because he's South Australian and, they always pick the Victorians and the New South Welshmen. But obviously the performance of, Renshaw especially hasn't helped that sort of conversation. But, yeah, fair to say, everyone's up in air here in Adelaide. Just couldn't believe he missed out.
In general, Bluey, how are you? Aside from what we've seen, I see you in the Titleist hat there. If you're listening, he's wearing the golf hat at the moment, so things haven't changed too much down there for you.
I haven't played as much recently as I'd like, Adam, but the golf game's gone to the pack. Generally does now over summer. I'm a little bit busier with some my media work, but I'm going to rectify that in the very near future. So I'm booked in Wednesday, I'm booked in Saturday, and I'm going to hopefully get a couple of regular rounds going.
Louis, I want to dive straight into the Travis Head selection, actually. I think it was a selection that was made 7 months ago. We talk about...
Hang on. Before you go on to that, I'm going to big you up here, Hads.
Okay.
Sorry, Bluey, to jump in. Just have a listen to this from a couple of Willow talks ago from B. Haddon when we were getting into the crystal ball part of the rundown here on Willow Talk about what he thought might happen selection-wise.
Yeah. No Travis Head.
No Travis Head?
Nope.
Why?
Well, I'm assuming Green can bowl a couple of overs, and I've gone in with the extra spinner. Murphy and Swepson in line.
And have you got an issue with Travis Head with his bat on the subcontinent?
Well, there's been times he hasn't played his best and he hasn't found his game yet. I'm thinking it could be a tour like him where he finds out a lot about himself after being on previous tours of Pakistan and Sri Lanka, that he'll get his game right and he'll come up with a style to play over there. But, I'm batting having Green in there in the first test.
Hads, I've got to applaud you, but also give you a whack as well. Because after that, I said that Travis Head was going to take 10 wickets in the series, and there was no, oh no, don't do that, he's not going to be selected. You let me run with it. Now I look like an idiot. Well done.
Well, you got to get one up on your host now and then, Bluey, you know that. The thing about the Travis Head selection, it's an interesting one because during the summer there's talk around the ground, and you just got the feeling that this selection has been building for some time. And that, to me, is a concerning issue. We've seen that the way Travis Head's played over the last 2 Australian summers, he's been our best batsman off the back of everyone trusting his style. So he's had 7 months since his last hit in the subcontinent in Sri Lanka. What has he done in that meantime to change the perception of the selectors? Has he gone and talked to a Darren Lehman, who's a fantastic player of spin, an ex-South Australian great? Damien Martin, the last time we won in India in 2004, he was the player of the series. And before that, he couldn't spell bat in the subcontinent. So you've got to give guys the opportunity to improve. But you've got to actually put things around them, allow them to improve in those conditions. Blue?
Yeah, couldn't agree more. It just smacked me right in the middle of the face, that selection, because, he was coming off 2 great summers here in Australia. And I think alongside Stephen Smith and Marnus Labuschagne, he's been our best player. He really has. So there's no doubt I thought that he deserved first crack at it in India. And you mentioned Damien Martin. I'll throw another name in there as well, Ricky Ponting.
Yep.
His first couple of tours to India, he completely stunk it up. And he'll say himself, it was just a massive learning curve that he went through. And you've got to give guys the opportunity to get better in those conditions. And I think it's been a really small, Andrew McDonald's talking about sample sizes, but it's a really small sample size for Trav Head in Asian conditions. He had a couple of test matches in Pakistan, and I agree, in Sri Lanka, he really did struggle, but he's had 11 innings in Asia. Compare that to someone like a David Warner, who's now had 18 test innings in India, averaging 22. Apart from Smith and Labuschagne, who deserved to play ahead of Travis Head? That's what I want to know.
Guys, just in a general, can you take us through? You've been there on tours. We don't know exactly what has happened in those nets. We're hearing out of India that Ashton Agar was just totally off his game in the nets, and that's why they went down the Todd Murphy path. And we'll get to Todd because it's the only bloody good thing to talk about from an Australian perspective out of that first test. But do they look at net form? And I know practice games, we don't play them anymore on tour, but do they look at that? Is that relevant for something like this, perhaps?
Well, that's the only thing that I've spoken about. I mean, I've done numerous interviews regarding Travis Head, and that's the only thing that I can bring up, is because obviously they didn't play a match before the first test match. Now, if they want to do that, that's fine, and they had like a 7 or 8 day build-up where it's probably like a match simulation type scenario. And the only explanation I've got, and obviously we're not there and watching training, is that Travis Head didn't bat well during those net sessions. And, no doubt that our spinners would be bowling to him, the Indian spinners would be bowling to him, and there'd be people around the bat. And I presume that he just didn't handle it very well. That's the only explanation I've got for him not playing. But can you pick a side on that? I don't know. But that's obviously the way they've gone about it.
Well, I've got a little bit of a different take there, Bluey. I think, as I said before, I think this selection was made some time ago. And if that was the case, what have we been doing? Take the practice games away in the last couple of months to help him out with that part of his game. Because he's a talent. And he's been compared to his game style with what Adam Gilchrist did with the Australian team. So you talk about tinkering with selections in the subcontinent. We haven't won there since 2004 and once in 53 years. Well, could the conversation then be around, okay, let's equip him with the tools before he gets over there. Maybe we've got to change our thinking about where he bats. Maybe he could go to 3 and take the new ball on. Because
open with him?
Well, you've got Warner and Khawaja. And Khawaja's an interesting one as well, because he was someone that we said a couple of years back that couldn't play spin bowling. Went away, worked on his craft, and now he's one of the better players to spin. But going back to Travis Head, you could throw him in at 3 and say, take the game on. Because I watched a few of his one-day games, and he's done really well when he's set to spin. He's a totally different player when he's set. And if he's set and can take the game on, all of a sudden you've got a bit of an X factor in your lineup. And that's the tinkering I think they could have made. And hindsight's a wonderful thing, but he could have been a real match winner maybe if we just moved him a couple of positions.
Yeah, I've also heard comments from the coach, Andrew McDonald, and Pat Cummins saying that they want the batters that are in there right now to take the game on. They feel like they're just sitting ducks if they don't play their shots. That's all Travis Head knows how to do. That's the way he knows that works best for him playing Test match cricket. And the other point I'd make is, if that selection was made 7 months ago, what's he doing there in the first place? If he doesn't play that first Test match, why choose him at all in the squad?